of the land where we gather this morning. Thank you to Abenaki elders and ancestors for helping us better understand our relationship with our non-human kin, the four-leggeds and the winged ones, and our relationship with the rest of the natural world, the trees, the sun, the snow. May we respect and honor the Abenaki wisdom as we navigate the world around us today and all days. And thank you, all of you, gathered here in the sanctuary and joining our community from afar via the live stream. Thank you for joining together in a shared worship on this chilly November morning. I am Ginny Sassaman, she, her pronouns, your worship associate du jour. On behalf of the full worship team, I warmly welcome and deeply appreciate each one of you. Many of you may have social justice concerns on your hearts and minds this morning. Some of you may also have personal concerns weighing heavily on you. You've come to the right place. Since 1864, the Unitarian Church of Montpelier has been a sanctuary for those seeking personal spiritual sustenance and widespread peace and justice. We in this church are fortunate to have strong ministerial leadership for this work. But equally important, this church community thrives on the ideas and actions that all of you bring to the table. From newcomers to long-timers, we are all on this journey together. And in fact, it is always a pleasure to welcome newcomers and guests. If this is your first or second time visiting, and if you feel comfortable doing so, you are invited to stand or wave a hand so that we might offer you a special welcome. Good morning, thank you. We have a lot of enthusiasm back there. In fact, in the sanctuary. Newcomers are invited to fill out the welcome form, which is available at the hospitality table in the vestry during coffee hour, so that we may connect with you and welcome you more fully. And now let us all join in a community building moment as we turn and welcome our neighbors in the pews. Good morning. Devices available on the table at the rear of the sanctuary. You can also listen to and watch the service in the fireplace room downstairs if you should care to leave the sanctuary for any reason. Also, a member of our lay pastoral care team is available here in the sanctuary sanctuary after the service if you have a personal concern and would like to share more deeply. This morning, our late pastoral caregiver is Betty McKinnell. There's Betty. Thank you, Betty. Okay, now that we're all welcomed, let us take a deep breath. Make sure our cell phones are silenced and enter more deeply into our time of worship with the prayer.
I'm like one of those Japanese bowls that were made long ago. I have some cracks in me. Now they are filled with gold. That's what they used back then when they had a bowl to mend. It doesn't hide the cracks, it makes them shine instead. So now every old scar shows from every time I broke, and anyone's eyes can see I'm not what I used to be. But in a collector's mind, all of those jagged lines make me more beautiful and worth a much higher price. I'm like one of those Japanese bowls. I was made long ago. I have some cracks you can see. See how they shine of gold.
You who are brokenhearted, who woke today with the winds of despair whistling through your mind, come in.
You who are brave but wounded, limping through life and hurting with every step, come in.
You who are fearful, who live with shadows hovering over your shoulders, come in. This place is sanctuary, and it is for you. You who are filled with happiness, whose abundance overflows, come in.
You who will walk through your world with lightness and grace, who awoke this morning with strength and hope, you who have everything to give, come in.
This place is your calling, a riverbank to channel the sweet waters of your life.
The place where you are called by the world's need. Here, we offer in love.
Here we receive in gratitude. Here we make a circle from the great gifts of breath, attention, and purpose. Come in. And please rise in body or spirit for our opening hymn, which is number 108 in the gray hymnal, My Life Flows On in Endless Song.
Now please join me in welcoming Elizabeth Keenan, Aaron Hartman, Lynn, and Liam to help us light the chalice this morning. So as they light the chalice, I share the words of Eric Hepburn. We light this flame to remind us love is the center. As we grow, and connect, mature and deepen, love remains the center. When the light of truth burns all else away, love remains. Now let us all share in reading. As we come. And you'll find this in your order of service. We come to speak honestly and listen deeply to each other and the voice within. Treat each other with compassion and honor our differences. Take responsibility for the impact of our words, actions, and inactions have on each other. Support each other in times of need and of grief, and celebrate the beauty and joy in morning, we have special guests, the Reverend Dr. Linda Olson-Peoples, who will be leading the spiritual exploration programming on the Green Rug, and today will share the story of the leaky pot. Then everyone will head into their regular groups, pre-K through grade 2 in the Children's Chapel, and grades 3 through 6 in the classroom across the hall. Pretzels will be served as a snack. Caregivers, if you have any concerns about the snack, please let any of our wonderful teachers know. We are delighted this morning to welcome all new children and families to participate in our spiritual exploration program. If you have not already filled out a registration form, please come with your child to fill it out. You are also welcome to stay with your child or return here to the service after filling out the form. We are very happy to have you here. And we will now sing the children out as they go. We have a late-breaking announcement from the Climate Resilience Study Group. The UCM Climate Resilience Study Group has been charged by the board to research UCM options. To learn more about this study group, reach out to the co-chairs, who I think are both here today, Steve Gold and Paul Olson. The other announcement is that there are many announcements and events coming up in the next several weeks. Many. So don't miss out. You can be in the know by wandering purposefully around the vestry during coffee hour and by perusing your e-news thoroughly. Find out how you can be part of the action. Remember, there's no community without you. And now another special guest. I'd like to invite Carolyn Monroe to come up. Carolyn is the manager of the Just Basics Food Pantry, the recipient of our community pouch this month. And we're so happy to have Carolyn here to share more.
Hi, good morning. I should have opened my notes out ahead of time. You'll have to forgive me, I was brought up Quaker, so I'm not really used to speaking in church, definitely not prepared things. But yes, I'm Caroline Monroe, and I manage the Montpelier Food Pantry. If you haven't come to see us yet, I highly recommend that you do. We're a little hard to find. We're at the back of the City Center building now. So, as my friend Kid put it, you just go down the sketchy aisle alley across from Miles Court Barbershop, and you'll find us. And it's great and welcoming and warm and full of food. We serve in any given day, I would say as few as 20 and as many as 50 different households through in-pantry shopping and home delivery. We also provide snacks for all 3 of the Montpelier schools, as well as helping with another way and providing food to various encampments when we can. We move about 500 to 1,200 pounds of food in and out of the food pantry every the days that we're open. And we're seeing an influx of new clients as well. I've signed up 10 people this week. But it's a really great place, and it's really well run and really welcoming. And we really appreciate your help. It really goes far. We're able to feed a lot of people, and we're able to help other programs that are helping to feed people in the community, and it goes a long way, and we're happy for your support, and I'm so gracious to have been welcomed here this morning. And I will be downstairs for questions later. Thank you.
We're having some mic problems this morning, but no worries. Carolyn, thank you. That was quite lovely and most appreciated. Generosity is a practice that is central to the well-being not only of the Unitarian Church of Montpelier, but also to our broader community. It is a blessing and a privilege to support our shared values financially as we are able. Half of all your cash offerings today, placed in the green pouches at the end of the pews, will directly benefit the organization Carolyn just talked to us about, Just Basics. The other half will support the mission and ministry of this congregation. If you are writing a check this morning, please indicate on the memo line what it is for. That way, you can also designate a portion of your check to Just Basics. Thank you all.
In our community of care and belonging, we hold one another with love in times of joy and in times of sorrow. And in that spirit, we share in a ritual of lighting candles of joy and concern twice a month. During the candle lighting time, you might wish to come forward and share a special joy or a milestone with us so that we can celebrate with you. Or you might wish to share a personal concern, a loss, or a challenge that calls for our love and support as a spiritual community. In just a moment, I will invite you to come forward and to share your name and in a sentence or two that joy or concern that is on your heart before lighting a candle. And as a reminder, the service is being live streamed, and anything you share here will be shared with our live stream participants. Hello out there. And this portion of the service will be removed from the video before being put in our video archive. And now, any of you here in the sanctuary who are moved to light a candle for your own joy or sorrow this morning, please form a line on the left-hand side of the sanctuary. We enter more deeply into this time of meditation and prayer, holding tenderly these joys and sorrows that have been named today, those that we hold close in the silence of our hearts. As you breathe in, may you breathe in compassion for yourself and all that is on your heart this morning. And as you breathe out, may you breathe out compassion for others, known and unknown to you, whose hearts are light or heavy this day. And I offer you these words of meditation by Anna K. Bladel. For years, I had a drawer holding only broken things, a hand-thrown mug stripped of its handle, shimmering shards of a porcelain bowl, treasured things, broken beyond use, beautiful yet. What to cling to and when to let go. When light disperses, whiteness shatters and a kaleidoscope of color spills out. Some shatterings are necessary, and some we only barely, maybe, survive, and some we can't, or don't, or won't. But stars, too, are born from shattering. They offer their sonorous invocation. Shine forth, you busted open, burned out, spilling over holy, messy, broken beauty. This blessing is for when even the most determined individual efforts, my love, can carry you no further, nor get you any freer, nor any more alive. Surrender, my love. Only life force required. Shed what no longer serves you, or never did. Hold close only the tender courage of your, yet again, yes. Yes, we love our broken hearts open again. Yes, we cry the world alive again. Yes, we salve shattered shards soft again. Let us now share in a time of quiet meditation together. Oh, great. Thanks, AV crew. I think this sounds okay to everyone in the sanctuary. Great. The reading this morning is an excerpt from the book On Repentance and Repair, Making Amends in an Unapologetic World by Danya Rutenberg. She writes, "The work of repentance all the way through is the work of transformation. It's the work of facing down false stories and engaging with painful reality. It's the work of being open to seeing ourselves as we really are, of understanding that other people's needs and pain are at least as important, if not more so, than our own. It's about figuring out how to be the kind of person who sees others suffering and takes responsibility for any role we might have in causing it. It's about ownership, owning who we have been and what we have done, and also owning the person that we are capable of becoming." At my Catholic elementary school, we had a bake sale every year as a fundraiser for school activities. When I was in the 8th grade, I was in charge of making the sales along with a couple of my friends. And the younger children paraded by on their way to lunch, and they pulled out their quarters and their crumpled dollar bills to pay for their brownies and cookies and Rice Krispie treats. And then it was our class's turn. There was just one 8th grade classroom. It was our class's turn to file past. And quite surreptitiously, my friends behind the table started to hand treats to their friends without collecting any of the money that was due. Something in my gut told me this was wrong. But soon I was joining them in passing free cookies and brownies to my classmates. Later in the day, our principal, a Catholic nun with a perpetually stern face, came to our classroom and asked for the 3 of us to come outside in the hallway. She said that a teacher had told her that she had seen my 2 friends sneaking desserts to the students, and she reprimanded them for their bad behavior. And then she turned to me and asked if I had also been giving out the bake sale items for free. At that moment, I felt sick to my stomach. I knew I had betrayed the trust of my teachers, and I told myself that I should have known better. I was the president of the student council, the first female altar server in the church's history, and the top student in my class academically. My reputation was at risk. And it was also the thing I could lean on in this moment to escape my bad deed. I looked at the principal and shook my head no. She let me return to the classroom while she had a talk with my friends. I left feeling a strange mix of relief and guilt. My friends snubbed me for a while after that, and then we all eventually moved on and seemingly forgot about this moment of rupture. Have you ever had moments like this? When you've realized that you've hurt someone in some way, that you've broken trust, or that something you did caused harm to someone else. These moments can be like small cracks that form in an otherwise intact ceramic pot, diminishing the integrity of the structure. And I don't think these moments elicit good feelings for any of us. For the most part, we want to avoid the guilt that often arises when the truth of our wrongdoing comes to light. And more than that, we want to avoid the shame. the feeling that attaches to the idea that we are bad, perhaps even irredeemable. Yet messing up and hurting others is a normal part of life. To state the obvious, none of us is perfect. And while I believe it is a worthy endeavor to do no harm in the first place, we all do at one point or another. Some of our wrongdoing can seem insignificant, giving out a few free brownies, for example, but other wrongs are much more consequential. Lying on a work application, scamming someone for money, engaging in hate speech and even violence against a person or community one deems as less than. From minor mess-ups to major ones, what matters after the harm is what we do about it, how we do or don't go about the work of repair, what we do or don't do to mend the cracks and strengthen the bonds that have been broken. Mainstream American culture and many of our religious communities within American culture aren't particularly good at doing the work of repentance and repair. We are so often quick to move past harm, to demand forgiveness, or to dole out punishment and assume that that has fixed the problem, rather than engaging in practices that lead to the possibility of healing and wholeness for both the one who caused the harm and the one for both the one who caused the harm and the one who was harmed. So much of the pain that we experience is because we haven't learned how to hold space for loving accountability and repair of relationships. Families and countries are torn apart by the pain of unaddressed wounds and ruptured relationships. These cracks and the lack of true repair continue to play out with reverberations far into the future. I believe that we need stronger and more vibrant cultures of accountability and repair. We need relationships in which it is okay to admit that you've done something wrong. And we need communities in which you will receive support in repenting and making amends, rather than feeling as though you will be forever excluded or ostracized with no place to belong. Perhaps if I had lived in such a culture when I was younger, I could have owned up to my bake sale misdeed and worked to make it right. We desperately need models of repair and to begin to engage in them. In her book on repentance and repair, Making Amends in an Unapologetic World, Rabbi Danya Rutenberg presents a model for meaningfully addressing harm. Her work is grounded in the writings of the 12th century philosopher and scholar of Jewish law, Moses Maimonides, whose writings included the laws of repentance found in his greatest work, the Mishnah Torah. The model of repentance that Rabbi Rutenberg presents includes these 5 steps: naming and owning harm, starting to change, restitution and accepting consequences, apology, and making different choices. I won't be providing a detailed account of all 5 steps that Rabbi Rutenberg outlines in her book. Today, I want us to consider just the first step of naming and owning harm. None of the other 5 steps can be engaged without this one. It is essential and often so difficult to do. I think there are at least 2 reasons why this is so, why it's so difficult. First, some of us here and in progressive religious spaces, we might hold reactionary feelings towards theologies of sin, confession, repentance, and atonement. This was true for me as a former Catholic and new Unitarian Universalist 20 or so years ago. The theology of sin that I was taught left me feeling like I was always messing up. It wasn't just free brownies. It was natural to want to reject any religious ideas about repentance. And I know this is true for others of you as well. When we were in the process of creating our congregational covenant, which we said together earlier, someone commented to me that they thought the last sentence, forgive each other and start again, went too far in implying that we are bad people. And I lovingly pushed back and said that the statement simply acknowledges that we will mess up and that we can seek and give forgiveness and commit to trying to do better next time. But I understood the reaction. Some theologies have been taken too far in making people believe that they are inherently bad or predisposed toward wrongdoing. It's also difficult to do that first step of naming and owning harm because most of us aren't accustomed to this depth of soul searching. When was the last time, you can keep this to yourself, when was the last time that you thought to yourself, wow, I really messed that up? Or my words in that meeting were hurtful? Or I didn't act from my best self in that interaction, and then actually named that out loud. This kind of honest and compassionate reckoning with ourselves and our actions isn't the norm. It is transformative work that isn't easy to do, but it is something we can begin to build into our lives. Rabbi Rutenberg writes, "The work of repentance is in many ways the work of looking outside ourselves, looking with an empathetic eye at what we have done, letting it matter to us, and trying earnestly to figure out how we can both meaningfully address it and ensure that it never happens again. This is, in some ways, an act of tenderness, of extending ourselves to care for others, of giving ourselves the time and attention we deserve to grow, of investing in our own learning and capacity to heal. Honestly and intentionally naming and owning the harm that we have caused is an act of caring, not only for others, but for ourselves as well. Honest reckoning with how we've caused suffering can also lead to greater freedom and liberation. The Black writer and liturgist Cole Arthur Riley writes, "Call it archaic, but I think confession is liberation. It is easy to think that in injustice, only the oppressed have their freedom to gain. In truth, the liberation of the oppressor is also at stake. When wounders finally become exhausted of their dominion, dismantle their delusion of heroism or victimhood, and begin to tell the truth of their offense, a sacred rest becomes available to them. You are no longer fighting to suspend the delusion of self, and as you rest, the conscience you were born with slowly begins to regenerate, and your mobility changes. You realize there are other ways to move in the world. It's not only relief, it's freedom." Derek Black grew up in South Florida in the white nationalist movement. His father started Stormfront, the first major internet hate site and online community. Derek was homeschooled and almost never interacted with anyone outside of that white nationalist community. When Derek enrolled at a liberal arts school 4 hours from home at the age of 21, he was privately hosting a white nationalist radio show in the morning, and he kept this part of his identity private. However, another student discovered this and learned more about Derek's background and sent an email to the entire student body sharing this information. What followed was a surprising path towards Derek's disavowal of white nationalism. It included the righteous outrage of his fellow students who let him know loudly that his views and actions were harmful. It also included the compassion of a Jewish student who was already friends with Derek when the news broke of his affiliation, who invited him to weekly Shabbat dinner. Over the course of 2 years of meals, conversations, questioning, and friendship, Derek eventually came to realize the limitations of what he had been taught and the harm caused by the views he had been putting out into the world. Looking back, he says, "It was one last hard thing to realize that I had done too much damage in my activism to just be quiet now." And so he responded to an article written by the Southern Poverty Law Center about him in 2013, and he sent an email to them that he asked to be made public. In it, he stated the following: "I acknowledge that things I have said, as well as my actions, have been harmful to people of color, people of Jewish descent, activists striving for opportunity and fairness for all, and others affected. It was not my intention then, and I will not contribute to any cause that perpetuates this harm in the future." Since then, Derek has not engaged in any activities with that movement and has shared his story publicly on numerous occasions. Now, sharing this single example with you isn't intended to downplay the very real and ongoing harm being caused by white nationalism as an ideology or by white nationalists as actors in society. And I am also not suggesting that befriending those who espouse hateful views will solve all our problems. But this story is an example of the possibility of repentance and the repair that might follow. Can we imagine what could be possible in ourselves and in our communities if we began to grow our capacity to name and own harm and engage in a process of repentance? Can we imagine how our personal relationships would change and how our collective bodies, from congregation to country, could be transformed? The pain that is caused by harm that goes unchecked, unnamed, and unaddressed can be immense. It is in this moment. It can seep into the very foundations of our families, communities, and national structures. But we can start the work of repair by creating space for genuine accountability and communities in which we expect and nurture honesty, compassion, and liberation for all of us. Can we see the cracks and turn them into something more beautiful? From our homes to our churches, to our council chambers and halls of Congress, may we not be afraid to face the broken places within us. May we honestly and tenderly face what we have done, and may we move towards repair and filling the cracks with gold. So may it be. I invite you now to join in our closing hymn, which is number 168 in the gray hymnal, One More Step. Please rise and body your spirit.
One
As we draw our service to a close, we extinguish the chalice and carry within each of us its healing flame, the warmth of community, and the spark of hope into the days and week ahead. Please join in our unison mission statement. We welcome all as we build a loving community to nurture each person's spiritual journey, serve human need, and protect the earth, our home.
And may you go from here believing that another way and another world is possible. And may you know that you can be an instrument of repair, that you can fill the cracks with gold. We conclude our service with the postlude.